There is a moment early in the morning before the noise of the world remembers your name. It is not dawn exactly, and it is not the hour before sleep. It is something rarer. It is the pause between waking and remembering who you are supposed to be. In that pause, the field around you is not yet shaped by obligation or narrative or the weight of yesterday's unfinished business. It is raw, it is neutral, it is listening. And in that pause, something has been trying to reach you for the past 72 hours. Not through your phone, not through a notification or a conversation or any of the ordinary channels that your mind has learned to scan for relevance. Through something older, through the architecture that holds your ribs in place and your breath in rhythm and your skin at exactly the temperature it needs to be to keep your soul inside. That architecture has a name, though names are clumsy containers for it. The quantum grid. But do not let the phrase deceive you into thinking this is a theory or a belief system or something you can file away in the category of interesting ideas. The grid is not an idea. It is the medium through which ideas become things. It is the invisible lattice of frequency relationships that connects your sternum to the nearest star and your oldest memory to the choice you will make 3 Tuesdays from now. And 72 hours ago, that lattice shifted, not gradually, not metaphorically. It opened, like a door that has been painted shut for years, suddenly remembering it was always meant to move. Most people will never know it happened. They will feel something, a strange restlessness, a dream they cannot quite retrieve, a sense that the weather inside them has changed without explanation. But they will not know. They will scroll past the feeling and call it nothing. You are not most people. You did not find this transmission. That is the first thing you need to let land in your body. You were detected. When the grid opened 72 hours ago, it emitted a frequency pulse, not loud, not theatrical, but precise. And that pulse traveled through everything. Through concrete and bone and time zones and skepticism, looking for one thing only, a match. Not a perfect match, because perfection is not how resonance works. A sufficient match. A field that was already close enough to the frequency of the opening that the two could recognize each other. Your field was that match. Your consciousness, the particular vibrational signature of who you are at this exact moment in your becoming. Registered the pulse. And here is what no one tells you about being detected. It does not feel like lightning. It feels like recognition. Like hearing a song you have never heard before but somehow already know the words to. Like meeting someone for the first time and feeling against all logic that you have been traveling toward this meeting for years. That feeling, the one that landed somewhere in your chest or your gut when you first saw the title of this video, that was not curiosity. Curiosity is the mind leaning forward. That was your field leaning back into itself, remembering the frequency it has been broadcasting all along without your conscious permission. The grid does not open for everyone because it cannot, not because the universe is cruel or exclusive or playing favorites. Because of resonance. A signal at a specific frequency can only be received by instruments that are already tuned to match it. You cannot force a radio to pick up a station it is not calibrated for. And you cannot force a human field to receive a transmission it has not already in some hidden chamber of its own becoming prepared itself to receive. So if you are here, if you are still listening to these words instead of clicking away to something easier, something shallower, something that does not ask you to feel the strange pressure behind your sternum that is building right now as you read this, that pressure is not anxiety. Anxiety tightens. This is expanding. This is your field confirming that the match was real, that the detection was not an error, that you are one of the few whose halo registered the opening before the opening began to close. And it is closing. That is the urgency that no one wants to tell you because urgency sells, but genuine thresholds do not care about sales. The grid opened 72 hours ago. It will remain in this amplified state for a window, not arbitrary, not accidental, but structured by convergences you do not need to understand to benefit from. And when it closes, the door does not vanish. It becomes ordinary again. The amplification drops. The signal that could have traveled in hours will take months. That is the difference between an open grid and a closed one. Not presence versus absence, speed versus density, ease versus friction. And here is what is waiting for you on the other side of the next several minutes if you stay, if you let yourself be fully here instead of half here, half somewhere else. A specific set of conditions, a small number of internal alignments that determine whether you enter or simply watch from the edge of your own life as the door becomes ordinary again. I am going to show you exactly what those conditions are. I am going to name them, not as concepts, but as felt experiences that you will recognize immediately in your body if they are already true for you, and feel as a quiet ache if they are not. Because the grid does not reward wishing. It does not respond to how badly you want something. It responds to what you have already become, beneath your hoping and your striving and your desperate late-night prayers to a universe you are not entirely sure is listening. The universe is listening. It is just not listening to your words. It is listening to your field. And your field has already answered the question you have been asking with your mind for years. The question is not whether you are ready. The question is whether you will finally believe the evidence that you already are. Stay with me, because the first lock, the one that filters out most people before they even know they have been filtered, is not what you expect. It is not belief. It is not discipline. It is something much quieter and much harder to fake. Let me tell you what most people get wrong about thresholds. They imagine a door and they imagine themselves on one side of it, and they imagine that the work is in the crossing. But the crossing is never the work. The work is what you have to become before the door will acknowledge that you exist. The quantum grid does not open because you knock. It opens because you resonate. And resonance is not a choice you make in a single heroic moment. It is the accumulated truth of 3 specific alignments, 3 internal locks that most people will spend their entire lives trying to pick with the wrong tools. I am going to name each lock for you now. Not as a checklist, as a mirror. And I want you to notice what happens in your body as each one is named, not your mind. Your mind will want to analyze, compare, decide whether you measure up. Let your mind rest, let your body tell you the truth. The first lock is completion without resentment. This sounds simpler than it is. Most people believe they have completed things they have only abandoned. There is a difference. And the grid knows the difference with a precision that your ego will find uncomfortable. Abandonment is when you walk away from something while a part of you is still standing in it, still arguing with it, still hoping it will change or apologize or finally give you what you were waiting for. You can move cities, end relationships, change careers, and still be standing in the same unfinished room, just wearing different clothes. Completion is different. Completion is when you close the door not because you are running from the pain inside, but because you have extracted everything that door was ever meant to give you. The lesson, the wound, the gift, the scar, all of it. You do not leave because you are defeated. You leave because you are done. And the grid can feel the difference between those 2 frequencies the way your tongue can feel the difference between water and wine. Here is the question you were not expecting. Are you carrying any door inside you that you thought you closed but that you still knock on in the middle of the night when no one is watching? Be honest. Not performatively honest for the sake of this transmission. Actually honest. Because that door, the one you tell yourself is shut, the one you have decorated with forgiveness and acceptance and all the right spiritual language, if you can still feel the draft coming through it, it is not shut, and the grid will not open for someone who is still secretly broadcasting the frequency of a conversation they swore they had finished. The first lock turns when you can feel a former version of yourself, the one who lived inside that unfinished room, and feel nothing but neutrality. Not love, not hate, not the performance of peace, genuine, quiet, boring neutrality. That person did what they did, that situation was what it was, and neither of them require your energy anymore. If you felt something tighten in your chest just now, some resistance, some quick defense, some internal voice saying but you do not understand what happened, that tightening is the sound of the first lock still rusted shut. That is not a judgment. That is data, and data can be worked with. The second lock is what I call the hollow where wanting used to be. This one is even harder for the modern mind to accept because we have been taught that wanting is the engine of achievement. Want a better job? Work for it. Want a better relationship? Heal for it. Want a better life? Manifest for it. And none of that is wrong. It is just shallow. The quantum grid does not process wanting because wanting is a frequency that encodes absence. When you want something, you are broadcasting the signal of not having it, and the grid in its perfect and impersonal accuracy mirrors that signal back to you. More wanting, more reaching. More of the feeling that what you are looking for is always just ahead of you, never in your hands. The hollow where wanting used to be is not emptiness. It is not depression or giving up or the death of ambition. It is the strange and unsettling experience of no longer needing what you used to chase. Not because you have it, because you have become something that no longer requires it as proof of your worth. Let me give you an example. Imagine someone who has spent 10 years trying to be seen, to be validated, to be chosen. They have chased the promotion, the partner, the approval of people who were never going to fully approve. And then one day, without fanfare, they stop. Not because they are tired, because they have finally felt in their body that being seen was never the thing they actually needed. What they needed was to see themselves. And once that happens, the wanting falls away like a coat that was always too heavy. They can still pursue things, they can still want in the ordinary sense, but the desperate, gnawing, please let this finally fix me quality of wanting is gone. There is a hollow there now, a quiet space, and in that hollow something new can grow that does not require the fuel of lack. The grid opens for the hollow, not for the wanting, because the hollow is the frequency of allowance. It says, I do not need this to be whole, but I am available for it if it comes. That is a completely different broadcast. That is a signal the universe can work with. Can you feel the difference in your body between the wanting you carry and the hollow you have maybe only glimpsed in your best moments? The wanting pulls, the hollow breathes, the wanting clenches, the hollow opens. The second lock turns when you can want something without needing it. When you can pursue a goal while being completely fine if it never arrives. That sounds like a paradox because it is a paradox, and paradoxes are the language of the grid. The third lock is the deepest and the most easily missed because it does not live in your present psychology at all. It lives in something older. I call it the unnamed thing you already agreed to. Before you were born, before you had a name or a family or a story that your mind could hold, your field made a contract, not with a god in the way religions describe gods, with itself, with the trajectory of consciousness that your particular incarnation was meant to explore. That contract is not written in words, it is written in inclination, in recurring dreams, in the people who appear in your life at exactly the wrong or right moment. In the skills you learned without trying and the fears that make no logical sense. It is the shape of the life you said you would try to live before the amnesia of being born erased the memory of the agreement. Most people never touch this lock because they do not believe it exists. They think their life is a series of accidents and choices, and they are not wrong at the surface level. But beneath the surface, beneath the accidents and the choices, there is a current. And that current is the unnamed thing. It is the reason some people cannot force themselves to want what everyone else wants, no matter how hard they try. It is the reason certain doors will not open for you even when you have done everything right, and other doors swing wide the moment you stop pushing. That current is not fate. Fate is rigid. This is more like gravity. It does not tell you where to go. It tells you what is heavy and what is light relative to your own deepest truth. The third lock turns when you stop fighting the current. When you stop trying to want what you think you should want and start paying attention to what your field has been broadcasting all along, quietly, patiently, waiting for you to notice. You do not need to know the content of the unnamed thing intellectually. You just need to stop pretending you do not feel it. That subtle pull towards certain places, certain people, certain kinds of silence. That quiet repulsion from situations that look good on paper, but make your bones feel wrong. That is the contract expressing itself. The grid opens for those who have turned this lock, not because they are special, but because they are no longer wasting energy swimming against the current that was always meant to carry them. 3 locks. Completion without resentment. The hollow where wanting used to be. The unnamed thing you already agreed to. Most people will spend their entire lives trying to force doors open while all 3 locks are still rusted shut. You do not need to turn all 3 tonight. That is the grace I want to give you before we move into the inscription. You need one. 1 lock, genuinely turned, is enough for the grid to recognize you during this open window. 1 lock, and the amplification will do the rest. The question moving through you right now, the one your body is asking even if your mind has not formed the words yet, is which lock is yours. Not which one should be. Not which one sounds the most spiritual or impressive. Which one, when you felt it named, caused something in your chest to soften rather than tighten. That softening is your answer. And in the next section, I am going to show you exactly how to inscribe that single lock into your field tonight before you sleep. Using nothing more than 3 symbols, 3 breaths, and the most honest 3 minutes you have given yourself in years. Stay here. The door is still open, but not for much longer. You have felt it by now, the softening in one of those locks. Not all 3. That was never the ask. 1 is enough. 1 genuine, embodied, no longer faking it alignment is enough for the grid to recognize you during this window. The question is not whether you felt it. The question is whether you will act on it before the window closes. Because feeling without inscription is just weather. It passes through you and leaves no trace. Inscription is different. Inscription is the moment you take something that has been moving invisibly through your field and you give it form. You give it a shape that the grid can recognize, can hold, can amplify. Tonight, before you sleep, you are going to do something that most people will never do. Not because it is difficult, because it is honest. And honesty at the level of frequency is the rarest substance in the modern world. You are going to draw 3 symbols. Not numbers. Numbers carry the weight of mathematics, and mathematics is beautiful, but symbols speak a language that your thinking mind cannot interfere with. The first symbol is a horizontal line, not a dash, not a hyphen. A line that you draw from left to right with a single deliberate movement. This line is completion, but not completion as an idea, completion as a felt sensation. Before you draw it, I want you to close your eyes for a moment. Just a moment. Feel for the door you have been carrying that you thought was closed but was not. Feel the resentment you have been hiding inside your forgiveness. Feel the part of you that is still waiting for an apology that will never come, or an explanation that would not help even if it arrived. And then, without forcing, without pretending, feel what it would be like to genuinely not need that door anymore. not to slam it, not to forgive it performatively, to simply be finished with it the way you are finished with a meal that has given you everything it had to give. That feeling, that quiet and unspectacular finality is the frequency of completion. And when you draw that horizontal line tonight, you are not symbolizing that feeling. You are broadcasting it. The paper is not paper. It is the grid in miniature. And the grid does not interpret symbols. It receives frequencies. The second symbol is a spiral, not a circle. A circle closes. A spiral opens. You will draw it starting from the center and moving outward counterclockwise without lifting your pen. This spiral is emergence. It is the hollow where wanting used to be, taking form. Most people try to force emergence. They set goals, make plans, visualize outcomes, and none of that is wrong. But forcing is the frequency of control, and control is terrified, and terror is a very noisy broadcast. The spiral does not force. It allows. It moves outward from a still center because the center is already full. Before you draw the spiral tonight, I want you to place your hand on your sternum. Not for long. 3 breaths. And on each breath, ask yourself one question silently. What is trying to come through me that I have been too afraid to let land? Not what do I want? What is already moving? What has been tapping on the inside of your ribs for months, maybe years, while you pretended not to hear it because hearing it would require you to change something. That thing, whatever it is, does not need you to force it. It needs you to stop blocking it. The spiral is your permission to stop blocking. When you draw it, you are not asking the universe for something new. You are telling the universe that the old dam has broken and the water is finally allowed to move. The third symbol is a closed circle. You will draw it last, around the line and the spiral, enclosing them both. Not perfectly. Perfection is not the frequency here. The circle is unity. It is the third lock, the unnamed thing you already agreed to, finally acknowledged. Unity does not mean that everything in your life is resolved or peaceful or making sense. Unity means that there is no part of your field that is actively at war with another part. It means that the part of you that wants to grow and the part of you that is afraid to change have stopped fighting and started listening. It means that the frequency you broadcast when no one is watching is the same frequency you broadcast when you are performing for approval. That is coherence. And coherence is the rarest and most powerful broadcast there is. Before you draw the circle, I want you to feel for the place inside you where you have been split. The place where one version of you says yes and another version says not yet. The place where you know what you need to do, but you keep waiting for permission from someone who is never going to give it. That split is not a character flaw. It is a frequency leak. And the grid cannot amplify a signal that is leaking in 17 different directions. The circle is not about fixing the split. It is about holding it, about saying, this is where I am, this is the field I am broadcasting from right now. No apology, no performance, just the truth, and the grid can work with the truth. It cannot work with the performance. So tonight, before you sleep, you will take a piece of paper and a pen. Not your phone, not a screen, ink on paper, because the physical act of inscription is older than language, and your field remembers what your mind has forgotten. You will draw the horizontal line from the frequency of completion. You will draw the spiral from the frequency of emergence. You will draw the circle around them both from the frequency of unity, and then you will fold the paper once toward your body and place it under something heavy, a book, a stone, the leg of a table. Weight matters, not symbolically, physically. The grid is architecture, and architecture responds to pressure. When you wake tomorrow, before you check your phone, before you remember your name and your obligations and the endless list of things that did not get done yesterday, you will place your hand on your sternum again. 3 breaths, and you will ask yourself one question. Not what do I need to do today? What frequency am I broadcasting from right now? Not what you want to be broadcasting, what you are actually broadcasting. That question is the beginning of frequency maintenance. And frequency maintenance is the difference between someone who had a powerful experience once and someone whose entire life becomes the evidence of that experience. The grid is still open, but hours remain, not days. You have what you need: the line, the spiral, the circle, 3 symbols, 3 breaths, 3 minutes of honesty that will rewrite the next 12 months, because the grid amplifies coherence. And you have just become more coherent than you were when you started listening to these words. That is not hope. That is physics. Draw them tonight, seal them with weight, and then rest. The grid will do what the grid does. Your only job is to stop getting in your own way. If this inscription landed in your body, not just your mind, write this single word in the comments right now. Sealed. Not for me, for your field. Declarations sent into a coherent field are amplified by every other declaration in that field. Sealed. And then watch what happens over the next 7 days. The synchronicities will not be subtle. They never are. Once you stop pretending you are not already inside the room you have been searching for. Sealed. Now rest, the grid is working.